Have you ever been completely worn out from chasing a woman you love, only to find that no matter how hard you try, it all seems pointless? Other men, on the other hand, seem to easily attract their dream women and live happily ever after. What are these men doing that you and I aren't? Today, we'll look at some of the most important ideas in Stoicism to give you real advice on how to approach relationships with wisdom, self-respect, and dignity. We'll also talk about 9 powerful ways to make yourself more attractive. These tips aren't just about romantic relationships. They're meant to help you get along better with everyone and live a happier life. If you have trouble not putting too much emotion into relationships or just want to improve how you connect with others, this video is for you. We'll bust some myths, give you good advice, and help you see the world of relationships through a more stoic lens. If you're ready to change how you connect with others and yourself, stay tuned. These insights could be a game changer for your personal growth and happiness. Don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel to help it grow. Also, please leave a message below if any of the upcoming revelations hit home for you. 1. Embrace your inner strength. In the journey of personal growth, especially from a Stoic point of view, there is a huge difference between being truly good and just being harmless. Stoicism tells us not to be passive, but to build up our inner strength and resilience. Think about the difference between someone who just exists and someone who has the unspoken power to change their surroundings. This is where the idea of being a controlled force comes into play. Society tells you to tame your assertiveness and avoid being too competitive. They may even tell you that being non-threatening is the best way to be. But this misses an important part of personal empowerment. It's not about aggression, it's about power and control. Being in charge of force means being aware of your abilities, even if they are to cause trouble or be forceful, and learning how to control them. Imagine a lion that is both strong and calm. It's not the lion's anger that commands respect, but its calm mastery of its own strength. This is how you should act. If you walk and talk with the confidence that you are whole in yourself, you'll be more attractive to possible partners and in all of your relationships. This isn't the same thing as not needing anyone. It's being able to tell the difference. Stoicism doesn't teach you to hide your darker sides. Instead, it teaches you how to integrate and control them. Remember that someone who can't show their power when they need to will probably fail when they face problems in the real world. Finding this balance where you are strong but not overbearing, capable but not reckless, and powerful but calm is what real strength is all about. In practice, work on improving yourself. Your skills will improve as you show focus and respect for yourself and others. Do things that push you and always aim for personal excellence. For example, instead of chasing relationships, learn a new skill and put your money into yourself. Improve your skills and create a life that people are naturally drawn to. This will not only help you grow as a person, but it will also make you a genuine and compelling presence that people find admirable and attractive. In other words, be the strong and whole person, not because you want approval, but because you are living true to your values. This is the essence of attraction through Stoicism. Number 2, don't chase them. In the context of personal growth, especially through a Stoic lens, chasing after someone's pursuits can often show that you don't know what you value or that your values aren't aligned with your actions. Stoicism shows people how important it is to be self-sufficient and value themselves. There are morals that are broken when someone is relentlessly pursuing someone else's love. People often chase after someone because they have a shortage mindset, which means they think that without that person, they might not be whole. Pitfall: thinking that happiness and worthiness are outside of ourselves and must be aggressively pursued in others. This approach not only lowers your self-esteem, but can also make you less attractive to the people you want, because people tend to value what is rare and self-sufficient. Desperation, on the other hand, often makes you lose interest in pursuing others instead of putting your energy into it. Focus on your personal growth and pursuits. Do things that make your life better and help you grow as a person. Start new hobbies. Investing in your career, learning new things, and volunteering will not only boost your self-esteem, but also make you more interesting and attractive to others. For example, think about the difference between someone who spends their evenings and weekends trying to make friends and someone who uses that time to learn a new language, volunteer, or make art. The latter person gains skills, confidence, and a sense of fulfillment that naturally attracts others. They are not seen as trying to make friends. They are admired and sought after. When you live a life full of personal achievement and happiness, you create a magnetic aura around yourself that draws others to your self-reliance and independence. Stoic philosophy says that the best way to attract good relationships is not to desperately seek them out, but to become someone who is worthy of being pursued. In other words, work on becoming the best version of yourself. Live a life that other people want to be a part of, not because you need them to fill a void, but because you have so much to offer. Remember that true attraction is about drawing people in with your vibrancy and completeness, not chasing them in hopes of validation. Third, work on your own happiness. One thing that really sets respected people, who you might call alphas, apart is their ability to make their own happiness. This isn't just about being positive. It's a deep understanding that happiness comes from inside, not from connections or validations from the outside. The Stoic philosophy of controlling oneself and one's emotions tells us that our actions and choices determine our happiness, not how others treat us. Often, people base their emotional state on how others, especially romantic interests, treat them. This dependence turns them into mere reactants to someone else's presence and actions, giving others too much control over their emotional well-being. For example, someone who thinks that winning over a certain person is the key to their happiness is setting themselves up for disappointment because they put their sense of worth and emotional stability in the hands of someone who is naturally unstable. Stoicism tells us to focus on making joy out of the things we do every day and the thoughts we have about them. You can find or make yourself happy in easy ways, like through a hobby you're really into, a professional accomplishment, or personal growth. Many people find fulfillment in reading, meditating, working out, and taking care of their gardens or writing every day. These activities don't depend on other people's approval and make you happy on their own. As a result, you become more attractive and interesting to others. Imagine meeting someone whose happiness comes from within and who isn't looking for someone else to fill a void, but instead offers a partnership of mutual joy and growth. This is much more appealing than meeting someone whose happiness comes from outside sources. Instead of making someone else the key to your happiness, focus on activities that make you feel fulfilled and alive. Let your happiness be something others can share in, not something they're responsible for creating. This shift in perspective not only makes you more emotionally resilient, but also more desirable as a companion who adds value instead of one who demands it. Number 4. How to give meaningful compliments in the world of people-to-people relationships. When used wisely and in moderation, praise can be very useful. Stoicism, a philosophy that stresses the importance of being real and engaging in meaningful relationships, can teach us a lot about how to compliment someone, especially in romantic or personal relationships. Everyone likes getting compliments, but the key to a good compliment isn't just noticing someone's looks or other superficial traits. Especially women get a lot of compliments on their looks, from their hair to their eyes. If they get too many, it can feel fake and pointless. To really stand out and make a mark, you need to make an effort. Compliment her on things about her personality or accomplishments that show you value her as a whole person, like how she handled a tough situation, her unique sense of humor, or her insightful comments during a conversation. These kinds of compliments go deeper and show that you value her for more than just how she looks. Also, when and how you give compliments are just as important as what you say. Instead of pulling her aside to give her lots of praise, give them when she needs them. Use these sincere compliments easily in your conversations. This way is less annoying, and the praise can be seen as a genuine expression of your feelings instead of a move to get along with the person. By paying attention to more personal and deeper traits, instead of using comments as a way to get her to do something, show that you're interested in her as a person by showing that you're paying attention. This not only makes your compliments more powerful, but it also fits with the Stoic principle of meaningful and authentic living. Use compliments to really connect with her and build mutual respect and admiration. This way of complimenting not only sets you apart from other people who might be trying to get her attention, but it also helps you connect with her on a deeper level. When she thinks about the people in her life, she will remember your compliments as someone who not only noticed her, but also understood her, which could make her love you even more. Fifth, show what you believe in. Many men struggle with self-respect and finding their purpose in life. They get stuck in cycles of inaction and regret, which in the words of Stoic philosophy means they didn't choose the pain of discipline over the discomfort of regret, which leads to a life not lived. Stoicism teaches us how important it is to follow our values and be strong enough to face the world even on our worst days. It's a way of thinking that puts character strength above short-term wants. When you always do things out of despair, you make yourself less valuable. If you don't value yourself highly, you can't expect others to either. Think about the dynamics of personal relationships, especially romantic ones. Why would someone be interested in you if you are insecure and lack discipline? Even if you find temporary companionship without a foundation of self-respect and purpose, a lasting connection is unlikely. On the other hand, when you focus on personal growth and achieving your goals, your self-worth rises and naturally attracts others to you. Women are often drawn to men who are confident, self-sufficient, and in line with their values, not because they seek validation, but because they are strong and stable. Instead of wasting time chasing others, focus on developing your strengths and pursuing your goals. Find out what you're good at and make a promise to get even better at it, whether it's a professional skill, a personal project, or a physical endeavor. Doing well in these areas not only makes you a better person, but it also makes you more appealing. As Stoicism says, greatness is on the other side of hardship, and you need the right mindset to get through these problems. Be disciplined, live by your values, and let your deeds speak for themselves. Become a man of value who chases dreams instead of short-term wants. People want to be a part of your life not because you need them to complete you, but because they respect and admire the person you are. This shift not only improves your relationships, but also changes how you experience life and attract real connections. Number 6. Understand the psychology of attraction. First, let's bust a myth. Ignoring women or acting uninterested won't make anyone fall in love with you. If it did, every shy or introverted person would be the center of attention, which obviously isn't how things work. What does work, though, is understanding the subtle psychological principles that can boost attraction without using tricks or games. People have used different methods to find partners in the past. Some have shown off their physical strength, while others have relied on wit or charm. From a Stoic point of view, The focus is not on manipulation, but on understanding human nature and using this knowledge in a wise and moral way. So how can you do that? One way to get people to really care about you is to always be honest and factual in your interactions. When you talk to people with integrity, you gradually build trust and trustworthiness. People are naturally drawn to someone they can trust, to be honest. This is true for all relationships, not just romantic ones. Being seen as reliable and honest makes you more attractive and can make people lower their guard around you. For example, when you share your genuine interests, accomplishments, and even your weaknesses in an open way, you show that you are genuine and relatable. This is compelling and attractive because it makes a space for others to be themselves, which is the basis of all strong connections. Also, knowing about the psychology of attraction means knowing how important time and patience are. Stoicism teaches us how to live in harmony with nature. In this case, that means realizing that relationships need time to grow and shouldn't be rushed or forced. This patient approach is very different from the crazy, often pointless efforts of people who desperately want love. Instead of chasing after someone, work on improving yourself and your virtues. Follow your interests and goals with passion and let your actions speak for themselves. People are naturally drawn to people who are committed to personal excellence and who live full, interesting lives. By following these guidelines, you can develop a magnetic personality that attracts others, not because you use tricks, but because you have qualities that are naturally attractive. Being trustworthy and real. These are the signs of someone who knows not only the psychology of attraction, but also how to be a good person. Accept that when you're interested in someone, it's normal to see them in a mostly positive light. That's the nature of infatuation. It makes the good things stand out and hides the bad, creating an unbalanced view that can lead to disappointment and problems in the future from a Stoic point of view. To build good, long-lasting relationships, it's important to stay neutral and emotionally balanced. Stoicism tells us to see things as they really are, without letting strong feelings cloud our judgment. When you're deeply in love, you might not notice problems or warning signs, which can make it harder to connect with someone on a deeper, more realistic level. In a relationship, the goal shouldn't just be to find a partner, but also to build a lasting, suitable bond. For example, when you meet someone new, don't let your feelings decide everything. Instead, take a step back. Use your common sense to figure out if the relationship is a good fit. Think about how well your values match, how well you both handle disagreements, and whether your life goals are similar or different. This isn't about focusing on the bad things, but about trying to be a balanced person who has both strengths and possible problems. Let's say you meet someone who seems to have a lot of the qualities you admire and shares many of your interests. It's easy to get swept away by these good qualities. It's also a good idea to watch how they deal with stress, act in social settings, and treat people around them. These observations can tell you a lot more about who they are than encounters on the surface. Being neutral doesn't mean not caring about or interested in potential partners. It means interacting with them in a well-thought-out way and not letting your heart decide without your head's input. This balanced approach lets you make better decisions about whether to deepen the relationship, making sure that your emotional investment is sound in the long run. Taking a neutral stance can save you a lot of emotional turmoil. It helps you build relationships based on mutual respect, understanding, and real compatibility instead of idealized perceptions that can lead to heartbreak. This is why Stoicism tells us to temper our passions with reason and to approach relationships with a mindset that values lasting connection over fleeting emotion. 8th, raise knowledge of cults. There are a lot of people out there today who try to sell easy answers to hard problems especially when it comes to relationships and self-improvement. Solutions are often given as one-size-fits-all advice that promises quick results to people who are desperate enough to look for one. But Stoicism says that real wisdom comes from realizing how complicated life is and taking a more thoughtful, individualized approach to problems. Be careful of people who give advice that seems to work for everyone. If that advice is followed without taking into account the person's specific situation, it can lead to frustration, having no power over one's life and going downhill into negativity. The Stoic way of life stresses how important it is to listen to your inner voice and use thought at the same time. It's about staying true to yourself while dealing with other people's advice and expectations. For example, if you're trying to improve your social skills or maybe find a partner, you may come across tips that say you should act or say certain things. But blindly following such advice without thinking about whether it fits with your personality and values can be harmful and ultimately useless. Everyone is different, with their own strengths, weaknesses, and life experiences. Instead of looking for and following, think about what works for someone else. It might not work for you. Solutions for everyone. Pay attention to getting to know yourself and what's important to you by thinking about your past. Recognize that you are unique and follow advice that fits with your ideals and the facts of your situation. For example, if advice to be more assertive doesn't feel right because you value kindness and empathy, then change how you act to find a balance that works for you while still trying to be effective. Being mindful and self-aware will not only help you avoid the mistakes of general advice, but it will also give you the power to make choices that are more likely to bring you real happiness and success. Stoicism isn't about following rules, it's about knowing the ideas behind them and using these ideas wisely in your own life as you deal with all the different relationship and self-help advice out there. Don't forget to keep a critical, considering mind. Check the truth and usefulness of what you hear, and always think about how it applies to your own life. By doing this, you develop not only wisdom, but also the strength that comes from living in line with your true self. This path doesn't lead to short-term successes in chasing desires, but to lasting fulfillment and important accomplishments. Number 9. Take advantage of the many chances that are available. It might sound hard to hear, but accepting that there are many fish in the sea is very important, especially when it comes to relationships. Not only is this point of view important for marriage, but it's also important for life in general. Stoicism teaches us to see the world as it really is, without our strong personal biases or attachments clouding our judgment. The person you think is irreplaceably special is actually just one of billions of other people in the world. When you focus too much on one person, thinking they are the key to your happiness or that they are meant to be with you, you give them too much control over your emotions and, by extension, your well-being. Having this way of thinking can be very bad for you. It can make your world smaller and cause what's called an inner mentality, where you feel alone and angry because your standards aren't being met. A wrong idea of how relationships work. Think about the idea that falling deeply in love with someone without seeing how they fit into your bigger picture can stunt your growth. If you think there is only one person out of billions who is right for you, you'll miss out on great chances with other people who might also be a good fit. You might also give up your self-respect and worth to pursue an idealized relationship that only appears in your head. Stoicism warns against this by promoting a view of life that puts personal virtue and independence above approval from others. Remember that women make up about half of the world's population. Realistically and statistically, there isn't likely to be just one perfect match for you. Accepting this can free you from needless despair and fixation. Instead, focus on building a sense of worth that comes from who you are, not who you are with. Create relationships that respect mutual independence and encourage personal growth. By broadening your view and recognizing the many possible connections you make, you lower the pressure on yourself and those you meet to be perfect or irreplaceable. This way of thinking not only makes you stronger mentally, but it also makes you more attractive as a partner. When someone knows their worth and sees the world with clarity and promise, they are naturally more attractive. They aren't desperately looking for someone to make their life complete. Instead, they are open to real connections that make their already full life better in some way. Having a stoic attitude toward relationships means realizing and welcoming the many chances in life that let you keep your dignity and self-respect in all your interactions. As we come to the end of our look at how Stoic principles can help us build better relationships and grow as people, this point of view not only improves your personal life, but also keeps your emotions in check. An important message should always be with you. Always try to be better than you were yesterday. Every day is a new chance to strive for excellence in every part of your life. It's important to understand how the mind works and use simple, moral methods to connect with those around you more deeply. It's also important to remember that clear thinking and wisdom should guide your decisions, not emotions. Emotions are important, but they can get in the way of doing the right thing. Watch out for advice that seems too easy or that takes advantage of your need for help right away. Real progress comes from honest work and a deep understanding of the ideas involved, not just trying to get things done right away. How to do it. Finally, remember how important it is to tell the difference between being safe and trying to be truly good. Building depth and strength in your character does more than just make you stand out. It gives you the strength and honesty you need to handle the challenges of life with grace and purpose. If you found this video interesting and want to learn more about similar topics, don't miss the recommended video that should now be showing up on your screen. Make sure you click on it for a more in-depth look. I also want to encourage you to subscribe to our channel. Doing so will give you access to a lot more content that will help you learn more and start living a more thoughtful and impactful life. Thank you very much for watching, and remember that the path to personal excellence never ends. Every day is a chance to learn, grow, and move forward. Every step you take is important for making your life more satisfying and fulfilling. Embrace this never-ending road and let each new day motivate you to reach your highest potential.